What's up, Yoon fam? It is I, Mark Yoon, and today I'm bringing another hopefully exciting video. So what I got for you today is going to be the ultimate mode that I would like to see in Tekken 7 whenever that game comes to fruition. But before that, I just wanted to make a quick announcement that today's Wednesday video is the last day for you to submit your stories for the Soul Calibur 7 fan story contest. Remember, the winner gets their original character from Soul Calibur illustrated by me and emailed to them. And with that being said, guys, we're going to jump right into the video. Just remember that your submissions have to be in by midnight tonight Eastern Standard Time in order to be entered for a chance. So what I wanted to talk to you about today is the modes that are going to be in the potential Soul Calibur 7. Now, we know a lot of these modes are probably going to be returning modes. A lot of us want to see like a Towers mode, maybe even perhaps something akin to Chronicles of the Sword. And that's usually where my allegiance lies as well. But what I wanted to do is kind of have a little brainchild of, what if we mix like two awesome modes together and we get like a way better mode? Now, what do I mean by that? Now, we all liked how Chronicles of the Sword had the kind of tactics-based combat in the top of it. Now, I say we take that, we use that as a base from what Libra of Souls is already built upon, and we have our customizable units alongside regular cast characters, filling out a full story. And I want to do the whole thing again where you have classes and you can traverse the overworld, knocking down buildings and fortifying buildings and building up units and attacking bases and stuff like that. But instead of having the encounters, the decisive battles that we would normally see littered throughout Chronicles of the Sword, I kind of want, once you get into one of those bases or fortresses, it to turn into a dungeon crawler and be something akin to Tekken Force mode. Now, Tekken Force has been in Tekken 3, Tekken 4, Tekken 5, and Tekken 6. I believe in Tekken 5 it was the most different iteration of that, called the Devil Within. But most of the Tekken Force modes are, if you don't know, they're beat-em-ups. You pretty much select a Tekken character, they play exactly how they do in the fighting game themselves, albeit a little bit more limited. And you run around beating people up, collecting items and stuff like that. So my thing would be, let's say you send a Cavalier from Chronicles of the Sword and a Knight, and you guys are attacking a fortress. You get the fire down, and then inside it has like maybe a treasure on top. Instead of like, remember how they, on top of the fortresses before, they had the amount of men that were inside, and you can kind of hover over it and see the statistics of the people that were in that you'd have to battle against in a decisive battle. I was thinking more along the lines of, you go into it, you take it over, and as soon as you're done taking it over and getting it down to whatever health bar that it has, that's when it enters the dungeon crawler and it becomes Tekken Force mode. Now, the thing that would make this ultimately awesome is if you're using your created characters and stuff like that you actually have, that you created in the overworld, but also if we had this tag battle. So what do I mean by that? We can have this cooperative where if you do it online or on the couch, you can have a second player load up their account and join in, and their character can actually go through the whole Chronicles mode with you. You guys can use different tactics to take different fortresses, and the way that would work is if you're attacking two different fortresses, whoever is the first player is the one that would be able to initiate the dungeon crawl and put you into that Tekken Force mode. Meanwhile, second player would have the ability to do everything else. And then once you're inside, it becomes the classic beat-em-up style where you're going through, traversing, collecting gold and treasure and stuff like that. And then when you get to the final boss at the end of the crawler, of the cave, albeit whatever kind of boss that they are, that is where the item that we had specified above the fortress in the overworld would actually be attainable. So if you defeat the boss, you attain that reward. And obviously we can do this with varying difficulties and stuff. I would like it to be replayable. Like if you beat the entire mode, then like you can go back and do it on a harder difficulty. That would always be great. And maybe certain like clothing pieces or character creation pieces or weapons are locked behind difficulty settings. And obviously this would it would give you more of an incentive to play online with other people too, for co-op, like let's say up to 4 players or whatever. Similar to something like Shinobi Striker in the actual battle mechanics, like inside of the dungeon crawler, where you're actually just running through the dungeon and everyone has their own job or tactic to do. That would make the classes awesome, because you can have like healing classes, you can have like a defense class, you can have an attack class, a range class, and you would all be able to use different characters to do that, or assign your created character one of those classes and be able to switch loadouts on the go. That would be an awesome mode, especially when you get to the final fortress of that map or of that area. You can have giant boss battles inside the dungeons where you can load up characters that we haven't seen for a while. That can be like the exclusive in-game characters that are only in that mode, such as Inferno or any number of malfested creatures that you can go against. It's easy in Soul Calibur to do, because you have like regular knights of other areas, you have malfested, you even have like the manifestations of the swords, and now we have from Libra, we have these ancient beings, so we can have all of this in there. Certain dungeons can have like actual cast characters, just like they had the rare encounters in the overworld of Chronicles of the Sword. Like let's say you run into Ivy Valentine and she's like way over leveled, she's level 60, and your characters are only like level like 15 or 20. It would cause a lot of gameplay and working together. Obviously we'd have like something different from Chronicles of the Sword that I wanted to see implemented. There's usable items. So maybe you could only be able to use a certain amount of stamina, and you have to increase your stamina, or maybe you have to revitalize health with health items, or boost stats like attack and defense, or even debuff enemy characters. So going up against that Ivy Valentine, you can use a item to maybe debuff her attack and defense before you go into the actual fight to give you more of a fighting chance. And of course we can have our regular things that we customize, our costume parts can all have properties to them. Now I'm kind of against like buffing and debuffing properties in those kind of situations. I would rather just have a buff of the character, like increased defense by blah 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 whatever, and that way like in the mode they look like that, but then when you take them outside of the mode, then you know those pieces are only reliable if you actually choose to play that way in versus. So I think that would be like the ultimate Soul Calibur mode. Like if we throw in some cutscenes there, I mean sure you can have the comic style dialogue bubbles like they have done in the past. It would be nice if like at least in the beginning and the end of every chapter you would have a small cutscene, preferably animated, but if not animated using the in-game CGI, I'd be completely fine with that. And I think that would be an awesome addition to the game. Now, it doesn't have to be the main story mode, just like Chronicles of the Sword and Tekken Force aren't the main story modes of their respective games. You have the story mode, you still have the Soul Chronicles, but this would replace kind of Libra. And it would be canon and add on to the story, but it gives you more retrospective and more insight into what the characters are going through during these certain times. Or maybe even this is the main story of the Conduit, like in Libra. So we see in the Soul Chronicles in the story mode that we're talking about and relying on the Conduit, but this mode is actually what your Conduit would be doing at the time. I don't know. I think that would be the ultimate mode. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This is just a dream of mine to be able to combine those two modes, especially with the online cooperative gameplay. I think that would make it extremely viable and highly replayable. And if there's anything that like you would have liked to see added to that, like giant boss battles would be great for certain ending dungeons and stuff, or horde battles even. Let me know in the comment section down below. So remember guys to have your story stuff in by tonight by midnight. Remember that's Eastern Standard Time, so check your local time zone to find out when your cutoff is. And with that being said, we're going to bring this video to a close. I want to see in your comment section down below not only your story, but I want to see what your ultimate modes would be and what your dream mode would be. And with that being said, guys, as always, thank you.
And thank you.
Hey, what's up, guys? Have you always wanted some sweet Mark Yoon merch? Maybe a thick U shirt, maybe a shirt from Squirt, maybe my pretty face with my logo all over your body, or a throw pillow, or blanket, or anything? Well, you're in luck because I just launched my merch store and it is going to be available on Redbubble, and you will find a link to it in my description box down below. It's got a lot of quality content and a lot of good stuff for you to pick up so you can show your support for the channel and just rep Mark Yoon.